I just had an incredible call with an amazing young man. He's 22, who has been sick for years, severely ill, was diagnosed finally with Lyme disease, like you've got fulminant Lyme. This all happened after some injections a couple of years ago that lots of people had that really altered his immune system in a way that he began developing severe neurologic symptoms, severe fatigue, had to drop out of college, and has been bedbound. And so anyway, I wanted to share with you what my approach has been to this as a physician. For those of you who don't know me, I trained at Emory University. I'm also an osteopathic physician, so I've learned a lot about how the body heals itself, as well as trauma and critical care. I was board certified in emergency medicine. My approach has really been to look for, what can we do to support the body in healing itself? And also, nothing is random. It is not random that this is happening. So when I interviewed him and asked about what trajectory were you on? You're really passionate and you're in school and doing this thing, what were you doing? And he's like, meh, when I was doing business, but I was kind of just doing the thing. And you can feel immediately this person is here for something bigger. And the journey he has gone on in the last few years has really taken him mentally, physically, and emotionally. It's a deeper journey into the self. What is the meaning of this? Why is this even happening? The bewilderment, the hopelessness, it's a richer journey of life than the vanilla journey that maybe he kind of was on before. The point I'm saying is none of this is random. It is not for nothing, you guys. I had a severe, crazy, weird chronic illness. No one could help me, but it brought me deeper into a connection with myself. There is no way that would have ever resolved if I had stayed in that disconnection and just kept trying to medicate it or find an answer or whatever. I had to get on board for what was happening, and it grew me in the most amazing ways, which, yes, absolutely healed my body, but radically changed who I am. And this is the same story I've seen over and over. Watch the testimonials from Embracing Health. So I wanted to share with you what I shared with him about that, for maybe just giving you some hope. What we're doing in the work is really just realigning you to who you truly are. The body can heal, but all of our brain patterning, all of our neural networks, everything happening in the internal communication system needs to align with that truth of who you are versus the programming of who you think you're supposed to be. And so once we shift that, it is literally an opening of the circuitry. Emotional release, which this person isn't particularly emotional, but there is some hopelessness and there is this bewilderment and there's all this, he's a really strong person, but there's been suppression of emotions. And so the energy is trying to work itself out physically. So you're definitely going to connect with emotions you maybe didn't even know you had, to let the energy move. And that is one of the biggest ways that healing happens, is that energy is no longer being suppressed. So it's a huge release. And now that energy is available so the body can do what it needs to do to heal. So that's one level that profound healing happens with that, releasing the emotional suppression. The other one is our belief systems and our definition of who we think we are. A lot of times we're living in this trajectory of I guess I'll do this, I guess I'll do that, I'm supposed to do this, not even consciously necessarily checking in with ooh, what's my passion? What makes me alive? What's my own sort of inner knowing guiding me to do? And we're just not connected at that level. But guess what, guys? It is 2025. It is time for us to awaken and begin to live life from conscious choice, consciously creating, what am I about? How do I say it? How do I do it? What am I going to be when I grow up? And to begin to live from the organic inner connection with the heart. That is a totally different trajectory than so many are on. And sometimes it's just that the illness is how the body speaks to us to let us know it's time for a foundational change. So a lot of that, the mental, the belief systems, the self-identity, that's a major rewrite in the system. And then the last part is sort of any of the physical of how I breathe, how I carry myself. Am I with my, my chest open, here I am, and my nervous system in, relaxation, openness, curiosity, alive. versus closed down, fight or flight, fear, tight, contracted, living from like, I guess I gotta do this, or people pleasing, where we're not even necessarily connected with just that freedom. You're meant to live in freedom, and I promise you, no matter what is going on, you can allow this to show you. You can listen. Like, what's the message behind this illness? It is not what's wrong with you. It's sorry, when I breathed in, I like sucked in my own saliva. It's truly about beginning to say, what's right about this I'm not getting. That, for me, literally was the moment where my entire life pivoted. When I stopped looking for, what's wrong with me? And like going to every doctor I could, help. And I finally said, okay, body, show me. What's right about this I'm not getting? And instead of coming from fear of my symptoms, fear of my body, running from it, I began to listen. And I have ever since lived in a deeper harmony with myself. It's unfolded more and more and more, and there's been even more growth, but I never went back to that closure that had all the symptoms and the autoimmune disease and the crazy co-infections and the blah, 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 running like a hamster on a wheel. That's not really alive. That is not how you are meant to truly resolve this. Maybe that will help you manage it for a while. And that certainly for this person, he was on this very, very restrictive diet for like over a year. And that's great, get off sugar, absolutely. But when you get your resilience back, like that is not necessary. You're gonna live from a whole different place. So we're all meant to be more fully alive. Whatever challenge may be coming up in your life, just know like, what if this was happening for me? What if there was something in here where I would grow so immensely that I would actually be grateful for having gone through the challenge I went through because of who it allowed me to become? That's the question you want to begin to ask. And that is what we together will answer.